I came across this interesting article, The Tearing Thought. What to do when wild elephant of thoughts tears into your garden of peace and quiet. Has it ever happened to you that you are unable to shake off a certain thought or a feeling? In fact, it happens to most of us more frequently than we might care to count. Everything is going fine, and then out of the blue, some negative thought runs amok in our mind like an elephant, gone wild, raising our peace and calm in practically no time. We sit there wondering why I'm feeling like this or that. I don't want to think these thoughts or feel these things. Those thoughts that completely derail us while we helplessly watch our own destruction is a common scenario in every person's life. During these moments, meditation, wisdom, affirmations, etc., just go for a toss, and only one thing rules the universe of our mind: a tearing thought. Is there any method to handle a tearing thought, that gate crasher who barges in our consciousness? Yes, that's the good news. The bad news? It isn't exactly a piece of cake. How do we rise above such thoughts then? First, let me share with you a beautiful story I once cited in one of my discourses. The Buddha once told a story about a young man who was a trader and had a beautiful wife and baby son. Sadly, his wife fell ill and died, and the man poured all his love into his little child, who became the sole source of his happiness and joy. Once, while he went away on business, bandits raided his village, burned it to the ground, and captured his 5-year-old son. When he returned and saw the devastation, he was beside himself with grief. He found the charred corpse of a small child, and in his desperation, he took it for the body of his son. He tore at his hair and beat his chest and wept uncontrollably. At last, he arranged a cremation ceremony, collected up the ashes, and put them in a very precious silk pouch. Whether he was working, sleeping, or eating, he always carried the bag of ashes with him, and often he would sit alone and weep for hours on end. One day, his son escaped from bandits and found his way home. It was midnight when he arrived at his father's new house and knocked on the door. The man lay in bed sobbing, the bag of ashes by his side. "Who is it?" he asked. The child answered, "It's me, Daddy. It's your son. Open the door." In his anguish and confusion, all that the father could think of was that some malicious boy was playing a cruel trick on him. "Go away," he shouted. "Leave me alone." Then he started to cry once more. Again and again the boy knocked, but the father refused to let him in. Finally, he slowly turned and walked away. The father and son never saw one another ever again. When he came to the end of his story, the Buddha said, "Sometimes, somewhere, you take something to be truth, but if you cling to it too strongly, then even when the truth comes in person, knocks on your door, you will not open it." There are two important aspects of nagging thought that ruins our peace. First is the thought itself, and second, our overactive imagination. Dropping a thought is practice in meditation that can be learned and cultivated. Once you master it, all you have to is to hold a mini self dialogue and gently shift your attention on something positive. Overactive imagination, on the other hand, is more like spiritual disorder. It's similar to excessive or compulsive thinking. When we start to imagine stuff, the thought starts to inflate like balloon and takes up our entire mind. Soon, the only thing we see, think, hear, observe is everything linked to that thought. And even when something is not connected, your mind will just link it anyway. That becomes our truth. It starts to govern our attitude and behavior towards everything in life. Fears, phobias, anxiety, and other noxious emotions fill our mind. Lingering thoughts and feelings usually come in waves. When an average person is constantly tossed about, a good meditator learns to surf these waves. The first thing about a tearing thought is to recognize it the moment it appears. Without such mindfulness, it is impossible to move away from that thought and shift our attention elsewhere. I would like to add that I didn't coin this insightful term, tearing thought. I first came across it in the Yoga of Kashmir Shaivism by Swami Shankarananda. Here's what he writes about these thoughts. I often refer to tearing thoughts. These are the thoughts that attack us like I am weak, I am worthless, I am no good, that the other person is better than I am. Tearing thoughts are an extraordinary psychological phenomenon. When cells take the wrong path and start to attack the organ they live in, we call it cancer. Tearing thoughts are a kind of autoimmune failure of the mental body. The mind, which should be used for our benefit, solving problems, understanding issues, writing poetry, instead turns against us with devastating effect. Enemies are insignificant when our mind tears into us. If there is a single phenomenon that epitomizes being deluded by our own energies, it is tearing thoughts. A tearing thought is a terrorist who has already penetrated your deepest defense system and lives in your hometown with vile intentions. If you could stop this one tendency, you would be entirely transformed. When we have a failure in life, it is not so much the defeat that brings us down, but what we take it to mean about ourselves. I'd like to read this again, Masters. When we have a failure in life, it is not so much the defeat that brings us down, but what we take it to mean about ourselves. We say, oh, I lost that game, therefore I'm worthless. We have a tantrum we take to our bed. We make everyone suffer for miles around. The one who suffers most is us. If we didn't have tearing thoughts, we would simply say, now what can I learn from that? That's good. I'll do that next time. And we move on cleanly and clearly. If you are successful in some aspect of your life and if you examine your inner process, you'll discover that you're not afflicted by tearing thoughts in that area. We defeat ourselves by getting caught in the pernicious downward spiral of tearing thoughts. This is written by Swami Shankarananda, The Yoga of Kashmir Shaivism. Consciousness is everything. When we accept the cyclical nature of our life and thoughts, we ease up a bit. We start to realize that not everything in life can happen the way I want. Not all my dreams will come true. The universe has its own plans too. Once we get a handle on it, the rest is as easy as a rocket science. Here's my personal recipe of life that will help you keep tearing thoughts at bay. Consume it daily and share it with others as follows. I'll share this in our group masters, but just want to quickly read for you all. Om Swami pudding for top mental and spiritual health, with the common name of compassion. And yogic name is Stop Doing Me, 1 cup. Meditation, learn to be silent, half cup. Gratitude, stop complaining, 3 cups. Purpose, stop being lazy and do something with your life, 4 cups. Words, if you can't speak gently and nicely, better keep quiet, 4 cups. Charity, learn to share, as per taste. Cooking time, it's lifetime and enough to serve the whole world. There's no one singular prayer, meditation, or method that can help you keep your mind at peace under all circumstances. Life must be savored the way it comes. There are some things we can change, but a lot of it is about our attitude towards life, which dictates our behavior and choice of words in any situation. And attitude, in turn, is determined by our mindsets and beliefs. Mindset can be changed with meditation, wisdom, and inspiration. Beliefs can be changed with education, experience, and insight. In the dead of night, a man has to pass through a cemetery. Much to his horror and awe, he heard music coming out of a grave. Someone was playing a famous symphony of Mozart backwards. Shocked, he picked up speed to get out of there but ran into a caretaker. Good Lord, the man stuttered in fear. That grave, I hear music coming out of that grave. Any surprise? The caretaker said. The Mozart buried right there. So his spirit is playing reverse piano or something. This is so spooky. And the caretaker says, take it easy, man. He's just decomposing. So our thoughts and feelings compose us, and our actions and words decompose us. What we play in our actions and speech is merely what we have known in our thoughts and emotions. If you feed your mind and heart with noble thoughts and feelings, your mindset and beliefs will turn noble automatically. This leads to transformation of one's attitude. So, 6 ingredients of the divine pudding will easily subdue a pinch of tearing thought, garnish it with a smile. Be noble. And this is written by Swami. Thank you all for listening. And this last sentence that says, our thoughts and feelings compose us, and our actions and words decompose us. So, what it means is that we are shaping our identity and character, like our inner thoughts and emotions define who we are. Meanwhile, our actions and words are what like others observe and use to form judgments about us. So, in essence, our thoughts and feelings build us up while our actions and words break us down, revealing our true nature to the world. So, it is very important that we do this introspection and self awareness in understanding ourselves more and how we present ourselves to others. I know it was a bit long article, Masters. Thank you so much for patiently listening. If anyone would like to unmute and or would like to share your perspective or your meditation experience, please feel free to unmute. Thank you, Masters, for your comments. Yes, Ram.
Thanks a lot, Swapna. It was such a beautiful meditation.
Thank you.
Thank everyone for the group energies. And as you were reading, something that came as a flash is all these sessions where we listen to masters sharing something, reading something. We are constantly practicing the awareness of listening. It was such a uh, beautiful thing
Yes.
to listen and becoming completely aware of everything that is flowing. So thanks a lot for all these sessions that we are without knowing practicing awareness. And the story that you have shared about the father and the son,
Mhm.
what a beautiful story. In order for us to understand various dynamics of life, you see the overactive imagination,
Exactly. Yeah.
terminology used in this article, the tearing thought, the compose and decompose. So these are a bit new. It summarizes a big concept into, in a simple way. And you see, we speak about imagination, the overactive imagination. So we have to be conscious, and many times even we keep meditating, reading, learning from others. These are very beautiful, reminders
Mm.
to look into ourselves. Like you said, we need to introspect.
Yes.
And for sure, these things are wonderful reminders. There will be some nice areas within our life where we can improve, and it's beautiful. I really liked it. Mindful thoughts, staring thoughts,
Yes.
and as well this pudding recipe from Swami Rama.
Yeah. Divine pudding recipe. Yes.
Yes, it's very nice, very nice. So
And dropping that thought is something that we practice in meditation, but he also talks about that mini self dialogue, wherein we are trying to shift whatever we are coming across to a positive note, so that that particular thing is not completely, taking over our entire, process or thought process. So that's
yes,
something that I right. I mean, I guess it talks about that being aware, and that introspection part comes here, I guess.
yes, yes. Constantly changing the inner dialogue.
Yes.
It's with awareness rather than uh, going with what is our regular way of thinking. We have to keep on shifting the gears. Yes, very beautiful. And in while you were reading that story, the other thing that was there is imagine those times of Buddha or those
Mhm.
times where these stories are happening
Yes.
where we are now.
Yes.
Okay, which means in the past, this overactive imagination, because of the times, he just arrived and he find the whole village is burnt. He
Mm-hmm.
could not station when he was out of the village. So all these things are no more there
Mm-hmm.
in our life, which means we have all the possibilities to become aware and enlightened easily. We don't
Yes.
need to run into these loops of, missing information. We have now masters, we have now wisdoms, we have these stories that come so easily to us. And
Yes.
so we are in the best times in order to experience what our soul wishes to experience. So uh, every, everything we can be grateful for because life is easy. So we
True,
should
ma'am.
not take this opportunity to, whatever terminology you want to use, spiritually enlightenment or enjoyment or experiencing. So we have to, you know, enjoy it.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much for summarizing.
Thank you.
Yes, Ushaji.
Thank you so much, wonderful, for the wonderful session, Swapna. Not only the music and also the wisdom. Yeah,
Thank you.
Ram have wonderfully summed it up. Something came up to my mind, and now I'm so lost in thoughts that I forgot what I wanted to say.
Uh,
Uh, yeah, I think, yeah, I was about to say about the golden pudding. I think everybody should consume at least 5 spoons a day
yes.
so that just to start off the day with. So it would be a wonderful reminder for each and every one of us that the points from this pudding or the recipe from this pudding will be like, I don't know, like boost or chawanprash which we take in the morning.
Yes. Very, yeah. You're right.
Yeah, right, yeah, so just thought
Like
about
a
it and
checklist
then I
for
was lost in Ram's thoughts when Ram was mentioning something.
it's like a checklist whether all the ingredients are there or not. So
Hmm. Yeah. Like
thank you.
like you have coffee, like you have everything. This is also one dose which we need to have. Yeah. Thank you, Swapna.
Thank you so much. Masters, anybody else would like to share your experience? Thank you, Masters, for your messages in the chat. Okay, thank you, Masters, once again for adding your energies to the group. We'll connect in the evening session. Namaste. Have a wonderful day.